Hey, what's going on? This is Worth Gregory. If you haven't been on my channel before or you haven't seen one of my videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'm gonna continuously come out with some content to really help you all out through the recruiting process. So I've been getting a lot of questions, whether it's on Instagram, through my DMs, Twitter, or even in the comments below that are really consistent. So I thought it'd be a good time today to just go over 5 of the biggest questions that I've been getting that kind of involve the whole recruiting process. So the number one thing that I've really gotten the most out of all of y'all, the biggest question that I've gotten in general, is when do I start my recruitment process? So I've gotten 20 plus comments of guys that are like, hey, it's my freshman year of high school, I'm in 8th grade, I'm a sophomore in high school, what do I do at this point? So the biggest advice that I give guys is really your sophomore year of high school has got to be when you got to hit the ground running. So obviously you want to start after you have some tape. So for guys that are in football, you really want to aim for after fall. So after you complete that season. And for basketball, because of being a spring sport, a little bit more difficult for y'all, you want to start at the beginning of your sophomore year, just kind of getting into the process. So that's what it's my biggest advice is sophomore year is when you really want to start everything up. And that's when you really want to start your outreach with your highlight tape and all your info. So, and if obviously like that's kind of the benchmark is your sophomore season. But if you haven't played in the game yet, like don't worry. Like you can start with certain things, but wait until you play in the game in high school. You know, like if you don't have high school tape, it's gonna be really hard to get recruited. So if you're not gonna start until your junior season, or you're not gonna get enough varsity tape until your junior season, you may have to wait until after then to really start going after it. Second biggest question that I've gotten from all of y'all, especially in the comments below, is should I use other social medias other than Twitter to reach out to coaches? Now, you guys know I'm a big proponent of Twitter and of email in general. You can even check out this YouTube video of what you think is the best way to reach out to coaches on Twitter and proven success methods through there. But really, those are the only 2 that I would really go after, is using email to send out your highlight tape and to reach out to coaches, especially the older generation of coaches will use email. But Twitter is by far king in recruiting by a mile. It's not even close. It's very rare that you'll see a coach even use Instagram, Facebook, or even LinkedIn because they just got so much stuff going on. It's easy for them to kind of push all their stuff on their Twitter. So really hammer on those more than anything, Twitter and email. Use those for your highlight tape and all of that. And then if you find a coach on other social media platforms, great, reach out to them, send them a message. But I think it's really hard to use those as an avenue for your recruitment. So try to focus more than anything on Twitter and on email. One question I've been getting a lot about, especially in regards to my Twitter recruitment video, is how do I reach out to a coach that has his DMs closed? Like he won't follow me back, he won't hit me back. Obviously, like the best thing I can tell you is to kind of move on. So like if a coach doesn't follow you back, won't answer your emails, and you've tried multiple different times to do this, then you got to move on. You know, there's 120 plus FBS schools, and there's over 1,000 schools that play football in general for recruitment, or even thousands plus that play basketball. No matter what you're trying to play, what sport, you got to move on. You got to be open and you got to be flexible. Like, yes, you're going to have 4 or 5 dream schools that are schools that you really want to go after. And I know it can be heartbreaking if they don't hit you back. But in the college recruitment process, you have to be very flexible of where you're open to play, because if you're only pushing yourself towards a certain number of schools, it's going to keep you really limited to how you're going to be able to play at the next level. So if a coach isn't hitting you back, move on. Maybe hit a different coach on staff, hit them up on DMs or follow them, reach out to other coaches in the conference. You know, the best thing you can do is move on and be open to anything. All right, so number 4, really one of the bigger questions that I've gotten over the last couple months is how do I get recruited without game tape? So some of you guys that are either going into your junior season or your senior season and haven't stepped on the field on a varsity season yet. So I know that can be difficult, but it doesn't mean that you give up, obviously. Like, this is your goal, like you need to do anything you can to go after it. So number 1, obviously, is getting on the field. Like, aim at that, like playing in high school, like you gotta be able to do that to be able to play at the next level. But if you don't have any tape yet and you know, let's say you're a junior and your quarterback's a senior, so you have to wait that year, the best thing I can tell you to do is to use Twitter as your advantage for putting out some good tape of different things. So whether it's footwork or it's you going through your progressions as a quarterback, or if you're a basketball player, putting up some different stuff from like your AAU team, use those as some leverage if you haven't played in a game yet. But obviously the biggest goal for you is you got to get game tape very quickly so you can be able to push that out to coaches, because that's obviously the number one thing that's going to help you get recruited. So the number 5 question I'm going to follow is in regards to how to reach out to coaches for recruitment. So I've got a lot of questions that are like, oh, like you mentioned in your videos, you just DM coaches or you just reach out to them on Twitter or email, but how do you get their info? So the best way to do this is, like, let's use a school like UNC, for example. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Google and you're going to search UNC Athletic Staff Directory, and you're going to scroll down to where it says football. And then if that's your sport, or basketball, baseball, women's soccer, whatever sport that you're going after for recruitment, scroll down to there, and it's going to show you all the coaches' emails and their names of what respective positions they coach. So use that as an example. At the bigger levels, whether it's in the SEC or above for football, top 25 programs, they're going to hide their emails, so they're going to be harder to find. But from D1 AA through D3 NAIA, they're almost always going to list all of their coaches' emails. So I'm going to go through my comments and answer some of these other questions and some of these other statements as well. If you guys have any other questions about the college recruitment process, whether it's football, basketball, any sport, and you think that I could either provide value or give you an answer, leave them in the comments below and I'll respond. I always respond to any comment that you guys give. And if it's something that gets a lot of likes and a lot of kids want to hear about it, I'll continue to make videos like this and kind of reach out to you guys. So let's dive into some of these questions. There's different coaches. How do we follow the head coach? So the head coach is going to be the hardest one to follow on Twitter. If he follows you back, then you're probably very high on the recruiting board, but getting the head coach to follow you is going to be a very difficult process. Aim for the assistant coaches. All right, Matthew said, should I put videos of me doing footwork drills on the field and stuff? Absolutely. That stuff is great to have along with game tape. So obviously game tape's the number one thing. The second best thing you can do is footwork on the field. So whether it's basketball, dribbling stuff, or football, doing your drills. So I think that's some great stuff to add on social media as well. Jason put, I'm a 6'2 DN. Can I put 6'3 in my bio? Absolutely not. When they bring you on a visit, they're literally going to take you off the board for you lying to them. Put your exact height. So I got a question about recruitment with stars and stuff. How do I get more stars? Guys, please do not care about how many stars you get in the process. Whether it's rivals, 24/7, all of that stuff, the amount of stars that you have is literally just a bonus thing. It's not cool. Like, coaches literally don't care. They go off your game tape and what tape that they've seen of you. They're not recruiting you based off how many stars you have. And the most liked comment out of all my videos is it me or does this guy look like Matt Stafford? Okay, thank you guys for checking out my YouTube video. If this provided any value at all, hit the subscribe button and then share it to one of your friends. Let's all try to help each other out in this recruiting process. I know it can be difficult for some of y'all. So any questions that you have, leave comments below. I'm always gonna respond no matter what. Follow me on Twitter at Worth Gregory 40. And then anything else you guys need, let me know.